it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
There might be no. Sometimes that happens where the sound doesn't come through my microphone, and here we are. Aston Villa 3, Southampton 0. I was going to say there that it could have been any score really. Aston Villa could have put up today, but they didn't. Some of their play was sloppy, but it doesn't matter because we won 3-0, and the substitutions that came on made all the difference. And that's what we spoke about in the preview, and what we spoke about in the team sheet tantrum is that Villa's squad was absolutely brilliant, and we had a discussion about whether Rashford starting, leading the line, or Ollie Watkins, and so on. And look, Watkins comes on today and completely changes the game. He scores. He gets fouled for a penalty, and Aston Villa have a brand new lease of life as soon as he comes on, and that's what we need from our substitutes. 3 people who scored today. 3 substitutes. The game was pretty comfortable throughout for Aston Villa. Aston Villa did to Southampton what PSG did to Aston Villa during the week. We dictated possession. We made sure they had to stay back in there and defend, commit bodies to defence. We wore them down, and it would have been nice to have seen those goals happen earlier on in the game, but they didn't. And now we get those goals towards the end, and 3-0 I think is probably a fair scoreline for this game. I predicted 3-0 beforehand, and 3-0 I think was a pretty fair scoreline for this game. And Villa's march, if you want to call it, to potential European football, I think they've really put themselves in a position to very much so be in the mix with that. Obviously, our goal difference is now +2. I think is a +2 or +3. I'll bring up the league table now in a moment, and which is obviously quite a bit behind the teams that are ahead of us. Our goal difference is now +3. The teams ahead of us are on +20, +13, and so on. The 2 teams below us are +17, +13. We won't worry about goal difference, but what we will worry about is, of the last 6 games we'll have played in the league, we've won 5. And that is big. That is good form to be in at this time of the year. That's really, really good form to be in at this time of the year. Chelsea play against Ipswich tomorrow, and that's going to have a big bearing on it. Newcastle obviously have 2 games in hand on us. They play on Monday, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But those 2 games in hand can be negated if we beat them next week, and that's where eyes shift to. Obviously, after PSG, from a league point of view, that's where eyes will certainly shift to. Eyes are certainly going to shift towards this man in a moment, because I'm bringing him up on screen, and it's Paddy. Paddy, how are you? What way is the heart after that?
Heart is fine.
Listen to penalties.
You gotta be patient, and you gotta just ride it out. But like they were awful. All they were doing was just frustrating us, and the worst.
Everton beat Forest.
Yeah, Everton beat Forest.
Jeez, I just noticed that. No, Everton beat Forest. Sorry, Paddy. Apologies.
Yeah, so everything has gone our way today. We've got a plus goal difference. We've got Ollie Watkins hopefully now to push on for the rest of the season. We've got a few great performances. We got 3 goals from substitutes, and everything is rosy in the garden. We've just got to be a little bit more calm and relaxed, and the results will come. But next week is bloody huge. Next week is certainly a cup final. You think we go and it's proverbial 6-pointer if we can go and beat Newcastle. Well, you think of it, we've got 2 cup finals in 4 days with Newcastle and Manchester City on the horizon. It's going to be absolutely crazy few days. So I don't know how my heart will be at the end of that run, but we'll address that when we need to.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this game, Paddy. Look, obviously, it was the easiest analogy for me to go to that we PSG Southampton today by just owning the ball, by recycling the ball pretty well, I thought, but we weren't as obviously direct in the way that PSG were. A lot of floaty crosses in the first half, a lot of feeling out this Southampton team. But I don't have any negatives for it. It's not a beat on the team. There was a bit of sloppiness in it, all right. But when you've got 70% of possession, you're going to misplace a couple of things. That's the nature of it. The more possession you have, the more you're going to notice that there was passes misplaced, and that's fine. As I say, I'm not having a go at anybody with regards to it. I think that Southampton obviously dug in, playing that back three with Harvard Bass, Stevens and Bednarek, Ryan Manning then on the left-hand side and Walker Peters on the right-hand side. It was always going to be difficult to break those down, especially when they had Fernandez and the other mush, Ugachuk, in midfield as well. So that's seven players that you got to get past, and I thought Villa struggled at times to do that, but they were patient. What was your view in that first half, Paddy?
Yeah, it was like it nearly mirrored most of the teams that we've played against us throughout the season, except for the fact that they didn't score, which generally happens when we've got to put up against that kind of a blanket defence and parking the bus. But again, we were just there was no urgency, there was no panic. It was just trust the process, and it came, and the goals came, and when they came. It could have been 4. Obviously, we scored a rebound off the second penalty, but there was an awful. I opened up my phone at half time, and some of the messages I was getting, I was like, "Come on, lads, seriously." We got to be patient. We got to relax and let them try and break down the team. If a team is that bad, we're going to eventually score goals, and that's exactly what happened. They got tired. They switched off. What a ball by Uri Tielemans for that goal. What a finish by Ollie Watkins. It was just magic. It was just, if you wanted to break the deadlock in a way where two players could stand out like that, that was exactly how it needed to be done. And after that, there was never any doubt in my mind that they were going to get anywhere near us. Great to finish with 3 goals. It's just a great confidence boost for Ollie, for Malin. Probably not for Marco Asensio, but I don't think anything would faze him too much, like the way he stood up to take the second penalty. I was hoping he would just spank it down the middle, but a player like that doesn't do that kind of thing.
And do you know what? Did you see the graphic at the start, Paddy? He's now missed 4 penalties, all in almost the identical spot in the goals. Yeah, that's mad. That is mad. Number one, it's mad consistency, because when he hit the first penalty, I went, Jesus, that was very close to where the marker was when they showed the missed penalty stuff. And the number 1 and number 3 were in exactly the same spot that he'd missed of the previous his previous 5. And now obviously 6 and 7 were in the exact same spot as well. So that's going to be an interesting graphic if it's ever shown again, and hopefully it never is. Paddy, I'm going to interrupt the Aston Villa talk for a moment, because there is something pretty serious, I think, here. A couple of people have mentioned it there. We were talking about the run-in. We were talking about Newcastle as well. There has been some breaking news and the reason I want to bring this up is because of one of the comments that was made by the club, that Newcastle's head coach Eddie Howe has been admitted to hospital after feeling unwell for a number of days. In a statement confirming the 47-year-old will miss the team's next match against Manchester United, they said that the Magpies head coach was admitted to hospital late on Friday evening, having felt unwell for a number of days. It's this line here that gives me pause for concern, and I hope everything is okay with him. He is conscious and talking with his family and is continuing to receive expert medical care. That does seem like a pretty serious line to put in an official statement. So, we've often said the football is the most important of the least important things. So I didn't want it to go on, when we were talking about this, and, thanks to the people who popped it in the comments as well there, because I would have gone on a run on Newcastle there with regards to the next game. It's not fair at the moment. Eddie Howe, thoughts are with you, and hopefully everything is okay with you at this moment in time. I just thought I'd take a pause, because that line does seem a small bit serious to me. So hopefully everything is okay with Eddie Howe.
Yeah, it's a harsh reminder to a lot of us that, look after yourself. You just don't know what is around the corner. A young, fit, healthy man by the looks of it. So, yeah, thoughts and prayers are with him, and I hope everything is okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is difficult to get back to Aston Villa when you read stuff like that, but this is a reaction to the Aston Villa.
It's absolutely sobering stuff when you read something like that. And look, we obviously mean no ill will saying that we're
of course
we want to go and beat Newcastle. It's only a game of football at the end of the day, and life and health is much more important.
Absolutely. With regards to the game today, Paddy, and moving back to Villa Southampton today, the changes seemed like they were like when you were watching the game, or when I was watching the game, they were the changes I would have made. So the reason, sorry, my mind was moving a mile a minute there. We often talk about maybe the managers made strange changes. Not this manager, but managers make strange changes. They make changes that maybe too late or too early. I thought the changes were made at the perfect time. I thought they were for the players that should have been taken off. Do you agree with me in that, or did you feel that any of the players maybe were taken off because of minutes played? I thought that they were the players that probably needed to be moved out if we were going to push on and win the game.
It's a difficult one to answer. You know, we alluded to it I alluded to it in the team sheet tantrum that a lot of these substitutions are made based on sports science. They're also made based on the score of the match. So when something has to be chased, you make changes. When something needs to be shored up, you make changes. Everything is different, and every manager sees it differently. But you know what more influence do we want than our subs coming on? All three of them coming on and scoring goals. You know, and I think that happened recently. I think in one of our games,
it's happened a bit this season. It happened a lot at the start of the season too. You know, subs were coming on and winning us games.
You often get one sub coming on, but I think recently we made subs and both of them scored as well, if memory serves me correct. In one of our last couple of games it happened. But and look, there was a couple of late ones as well. John McGinn coming on very late and getting a goal. Delighted for him. It's just a bizarre second half. 2 missed penalties, 3 subs scoring. You just don't know what you're going to get with this team. It's just a difficult one to analyze, you know, straight after and without having gathered your thoughts, because you know you're talking about 69 minutes in when we're missing the penalty and you're going, oh my God, this might not be our day, and then you know I would go as far as saying that Ollie Watkins goal is one of the most important goals of the season. It's so big, and we'll only realise it when we get to the end. When you look around, we broke the deadlock today with it. It gave us a bit more space to go and look for more goals. But when you look around at the scores that came in afterwards, and bear in mind the 2 games that we have coming up, it's absolutely enormous, this result today. And I'll be a little bit more excited when I relax a little bit after today. But look, with huge games coming up, it's a strange season. It just makes you think when I think you have the table ready to go. I think we're 8 points behind Arsenal, is it?
There we are. Yeah. We are 8 points behind Arsenal. Arsenal have a game in hand. Like which is kind of, you know, 2 weeks ago, a lot of fans online. And look, I'm not having a go at people. Jesus, don't get me wrong, because there were times where we faltered and said, no, I think we're out of the top 5 race. And we were beginning to get down that road. And
there's nothing won yet. It's still a long way to go. And
but we have clawed our way back. Like there's a lot of green in that right hand side there. You know, take out I won't say take out the last. That was Palace. I think that was that last that's there. That was the Palace last, but outside of that, you know, we were putting together a run at the right time. And you look down, we're the form team in the league currently. We are the form team in the league currently. So, you know, that is something that is factual, and it's something that you know Villa can take back to. It's Villa Park, I think, next weekend, isn't it? Against Newcastle, isn't it? It's at home.
It is,
yeah, which is altogether, you know, as well another plus point considering how well we've been doing at home. But more clean sheets as well in the Premier League. What's that now? 5 clean sheets in a row? 5 clean sheets out of the last 6, is it? 6 games, I think it is. You know, so like you look at the amount of green, you look at the wins. You look at us climbing the table, and you take Paris Saint-Germain, arguably the best team in Europe, out of the equation, and Crystal Palace, arguably the best team in Europe whenever they turn up to play against us, out of the equation, because they turn into the best team in Europe whenever we play them. Crystal Palace do, you know. We've had a pretty good March and April. In fact, not a pretty good. We've had a bloody excellent March and April, and that's the right time. That's when you want it. Remember under Martin O'Neill, we couldn't win a game in March.
Yeah.
Remember, he was famous for that.
Yeah, we did concede a goal against Forest last week, but 3-0 against Brighton, 3-0 against Preston, 3-0 against Bruges, 1-0 against Brentford, 3-1 against Bruges, 2-0 against Cardiff, lost 4-1 to Palace, and then there was no clean sheets before then. That was the start of it. Was that the Cardiff City one? So Cardiff, Brentford, Bruges, Preston, Brighton, and then again today. So, as I said beforehand, I would have gladly taken a 3-2, but not having looked at that closely at that Southampton team. There's absolutely no way we needed to concede any goals today.
Yeah, I think, Semilor, thank you so much for that, Semilor, as well. And thank you to Flange as well for becoming a member on YouTube as well. Really, really appreciate that, guys. That's really kind of you, of both of you. Yuri has to go back and set pieces. I didn't think the set pieces were bad, but obviously the 2 penalties, you know, there will be a conversation now about who takes penalties for Aston Villa again. Every 6 weeks, there's a conversation about who takes penalties for Aston Villa. But look, I suppose we worry about that. Do you know what? The way Asensio looked after the 2 of those, he didn't look pissed off about it. You know, not that he wasn't pissed off about it, but it didn't look like it was going to get in his head. I don't know whether that's just the poker face that he has.
I don't think he's the kind of player that plays on confidence. He just knows what he's capable of, and I would say if we'd have got a third one, he'd have probably taken it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I thought that way as well, and he'll score. I think he's the type of player, like, he's won enough and he's been around enough good players that he'll be able to brush that stuff off. You know, he seems to be that type of guy. But look, we worry about who the next penalty taker is when we get the next penalty. There's many other things that that we want to talk about in this game that were worth talking about. I thought in this game today that I thought Onana was really good. I have been, I'm not going to say underwhelmed by him over the last couple of weeks, but I said it in last week's podcast, and a couple of people came back to me and said Onana was good, and I agree, he was good last week. But my big thing was I was looking at him and going, he's not Boubacar Kamara, and that's not his fault, you know, because Kamara is so good. But today I was watching him and I was there. I would say he's having a really good game. Positionally, he was really good. No, they didn't offer much through the centre. I thought that he strode forward with the ball and he let the ball go when he needed to. And he just looked a bit more of a presence there, obviously, against lesser opposition today. What do you make of Onana, and what did you make of his performance today? Did anything really stand out for you?
Nothing really stood out as much, other than he got a lot more time on the ball in the position that he was playing in. Like I haven't formed a rounded opinion on him, because it's been a little bit fractured season for him. There's been a lot of injuries, a lot of matches missed here and there. And look, we alluded to it before the match. If we can keep everybody fit, it gives us an amazing chance to go and win matches. So I'm delighted to have him and everybody else fit, that we can rotate. I did get a little bit worried when Kamara come on at the end. I was going, is there any need for this? But anyway, bring him on, see what happens. But look, I think Onana will grow with this team. His passing looks a whole lot more crisp than it did when he came in initially, and he's not a fella who's short of confidence either. And he's got a great rapport with the players around him, as we've seen when he's not part of the squad. He's always there and there around the team when they're arriving, and he's got a great rapport with the fans, especially the away fans, and it's brilliant for him. I hope it continues, and I hope he continues to get better. Is he our first choice defensive centre midfielder? No, but important to have around the place. Got a couple of important goals early on in the season, so I've no other opinion of him, up or down, other than he's the player I expected we were signing. I am a little bit worried about the injuries that he's picked up over the season, and hopefully he can leave them behind him and push on into next season.
Mike, I don't know what take I had on that. I said he was a good player, so I don't know, I'm not sure what the bizarreness. I was saying it was a failing on me that I criticised him in the last game because I was expecting him to do the things that Kamara did.
No,
but
I think that's Mike's opinion. I think it's Mike's opinion that he's saying is bizarre.
Sorry. Yeah, Mike. I hope that is. Yeah. If it is, apologies. Yeah, but no, but that I wanted to clarify just in case I was picked up incorrectly on my thing was that no, it was me. It was a me problem with Onana, not an Onana problem. So yeah, and it's probably a me problem with that there as well. Guys, can I get everybody to put a line emoji? Anybody that wants to win something for free, can I get you all to put? If you want to win something for free, put a line emoji in the comments now. And myself and Paddy, I've got one more question for Paddy, and then I'm going to. If you put a line emoji in there, I'm going to get Paddy to pick a number between 1 and however many line emojis are in there.
Tell them what they're winning, because there could be someone in there that would not know what to do with this subscription.
You know what I'll do, Paddy? I will. Do you know what? Yeah, I'll play the ad here while you guys are putting that in there. So we've got a short-term sponsor with NordVPN. I'm going to play the ad here. Pop a line emoji in the comments, and we're going to give a NordVPN subscription away to somebody. And here is the ad. All right, lads and lasses, let's take a quick break from all things Villa and talk about something every football fan needs. And that's keeping your online game as tight as Ezri Konsa's man marking. And that's where NordVPN comes in. Whether you're streaming the match on Wi-Fi at the pub or checking the latest transfer gossip without your boss clocking it, NordVPN's got your back. It's dead simple. It encrypts your connection, hides your IP, and lets you sidestep those geo-blocks so you can watch the footy from anywhere. Imagine seeing Asensio crack one in the top corner versus PSG in 4K from one of Nord's 7,400 servers in 118 countries. Just change your virtual location easily, no buffering and no hassle. I use it myself, so it's a no-brainer to go get an exclusive NordVPN discount of up to 74% plus 4 extra months when you sign up to 1 year or 2 year plans at www.nordvpn.com/FTLoPM. The link is in the description, so go click on it now and sign up and help us here For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. So head to www.nordvpn.com/FTLoPM, sign up and keep your online moves safer than Emi Martinez's goal during the penalty shootout. Cheers to NordVPN, and now let's get back to all things wonderful about Unai Emery's Aston Villa. Up the Villa! Excellent. Yeah, that is. And thank you once again to NordVPN there. I'm nearly finished starring all of those there, Paddy. Paddy, who would you have given man a match to today? Or is it a silly question?
Same fella I give it to nearly every week is Youri Tielemans. No, look, I think the second half performance was a collective performance. The players coming off the bench made a difference as well. It's a harsh enough one to give a man of the match to. There's 1, 2. I'm looking at player ratings here. Bizarrely, Emi Martinez is on 8 out of 10, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players on 7.7 out of 10. So that's how close it is. And this is a fan-led look. Onana 8.1. So technically, according to this, Onana is man of the match. So there you go.
Really good. Yeah, my time was really good today. Yeah, I think Ollie Watkins just has to be man of the match. Just completely changed the game when he came in, won the penalty, scored the goal, and just changed the whole tenor of the game. After that, Southampton were like they knew they weren't scoring 2 goals to win that game. They knew they weren't getting out of their half, basically, and that's not being bad on Southampton. Like, you could just see it just suck out of them, you know. Especially after scoring, after them saving the penalty, they got very G'd up over that. After that, 3 minutes later, they're 1-0 down. So I'd give it to Watkins, but
Ollie Watkins 7.9, and pushing out into the lead now is Youri Tielemans with 8.6.
Yeah, we need to find a way to start to do a poll on this, I think.
Look, I think the fact that we're hopping around between everybody means there was nobody really that stood out and you'd go, he was absolutely magic today. It was a collective performance to go and win the game. Happy with a number of performances. But yeah, I'll tell you what I am going to do. You're going to ask me to pick a number, are you?
Yeah, between 1 and 106, Paddy.
Okay, I'm going to pick. I normally pick number 3 in this scenario, but I'm going to make your life a little bit more difficult. And I'm going to pick a player at random, and it is number 41, Jacob Ramsey.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19. This is great podcast. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Where are they? 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. Scott VB. Scott VB, you are the winner of a NordVPN subscription. You can either email me at fortheloveofpaulmcgrath@gmail.com, or if you follow me on Twitter, just send me a message. And if I'm not following you already, I'll follow you back, and then you can send me a DM there, and we get all that sorted out for you. Thanks very much, guys. Thanks a million to everybody for that, and thanks a million to NordVPN for sponsoring the show. I don't know, Paddy. Is there much more else to talk about with that? Like, it was a routine enough 3-0 win, albeit that the goals came in the last 20 minutes. But you know, they didn't really lay a glove on us. Do you know what? Actually, do you know one thing that stood out to me? Both Mings and Kanza both had a go at Cameron Archer in this game. Did you notice that? Archer left a late one on Kanza, and Kanza had a right go at him. And Mings had a go at him. Yeah, Mings had a go at Archer as well. But somebody put a comment in there, and apologies, I don't have it. I had it started. I think I must have knocked it off. But I think it might have been Nash Villain had it in the comments a moment ago that Malin and Archer cost the same price.
Very true.
When you're talking about selling academy graduates, and don't get me wrong, this isn't me having a go at Cameron Archer or anything like that, but Aston Villa sold Cameron Archer, who has gone on, what did he score? 5 goals, I think it was last season. I don't know how many goals he's got this year. And they got in somebody of the quality of Daniel Malin. So my whole point about this is, I hope Archer goes on to have an absolutely sterling career. I really do. It's not an anti-Archer thing at all. But if Villa start selling their academy graduates and bring in the caliber of players that they've brought in to date with that money, or that's probably what we're going to start to see going forward. And I don't know where I stand on that, but I suppose success cures absolutely everything, you know, from that point of view. And the other reason I brought that up, Paddy, was because you mentioned Jacob Ramsey being number 41, and him being one of the few graduates to still be within this squad. I think is it's testament to him and his adaptability within the Unai Emery system.
Yeah. And look, he's only getting better with time. Again, another guy whose season was truncated with it. I'm losing words to remind when I say this, but there were just so many injuries in there and knocks, and he just seems to be on a decent run now where he's kept himself fit. And I'm happy for him. I watched him the other night being pissed off, getting taken off. I love to see that. Wasn't petulant, throwing water bottles around the dugout, but you could see he was pissed off going off. And that's absolutely fine. I'm delighted for him that he's... Look, I mentioned it in the team sheet tantrum for PSG that we had 2 players within 25 miles of Villa Park starting. And look, I hope that's always the case with Aston Villa. I love it. Everyone loves one of their own. And I think there's great scope for him to get better. A lot of people think that he could be the fall guy for PSR. The one that gets moved on. We'll find out in the summer. I hope that's not the case. But fingers crossed that he can grow more, flourish, get into that England squad and be a world beater for Aston Villa.
Just on this one, not going to go into it now, but 1982 to Andy says, I've heard we're in deep doo-doo regarding PSR this June. Anybody got the facts? I don't have the facts, but I have been speaking to somebody who I'm deliberately putting it off because football is more important than finance at the moment. But we will be doing something on that really soon. Somebody who's done the amateur mathematics on it. They were pretty close to the way it was last year. And hopefully they're going to be as close to the way it is this year. I suppose the one big thing is we don't know what escalators there are for Champions League bonuses. But anyway, answer your question, Andy, hopefully over the next maybe 6 weeks or something like that, I will have someone in to talk about that and discuss it. I have my own thoughts on it as well. And all I would say to people is just remember, every single player that's out on loan for Aston Villa at the moment has quite a decent sell-on clause. Quite a decent purchase option in there as well, from Emi Buendia to Nedeljkovic to Kane Kessler-Hayden, all those guys. So just keep an eye on that over the course and factor that into the PSR as well from that point of view. Anyway,
he says there, it's all a little bit disappointing after selling Duran for so much money that we're still talking about this. I'm trying to steer away from it as you are. Just you look at what Duran brought in, and you look at what the Champions League money that come in. There's close on 200 million there. So I don't understand why we're panicking or worrying, and we'll leave that panic and worry to those who know more about finance than me and you. And when we get more meat on the bones, we'll talk about it then, I suppose.
Absolutely. Two things here as well. Peter, I had myself built up, Peter, to pronounce your surname and to have a good crack at it, but I bottled it at the last minute. Peter Borges said, that's how I'm going to go with it. It says, man of the match was Maatsen. Great call as well, by the way. I thought Maatsen was really good today. Really, really, really good both ways. There was one stage, he did an old-fashioned shoulder. He ran down the line with Suleimani. Was it Suleimani? Or was it Kyle Walker-Peters? And buckled him with a shoulder. And it was as fair as the day is long. It was brilliant. So great call there, Peter, as well. And Darren is asking if I've got the willies yet over the wedding next week. No, I don't. I just can't wait to have a creamy pint of Guinness about 3, 4 o'clock after all the photographs are done, and that's all I'm looking forward to now. So I can assure
Darren that I have more the willies about this wedding than you have, because I'm shitting myself that I'm not going to be able to watch the match on Saturday.
I'm telling you, I've got it all sorted. I've gone away and I've bought a fucking broadband dongle and everything to put on your table with an iPad so you can watch the match. I'll sort you out. Don't worry. Don't worry at all. Don't worry. I've gone to great lengths to make sure that you'll be able to watch it. And I even put you beside the bar as well. So that's, look, I'm telling you, I'm looking after you. Right. I think we're going to leave it at that, guys. It's a great win today, 3-0, positive goal difference is nice to see as well. And with Newcastle and PSG on the horizon. Just before we go again, just to reiterate for any of those that are late, best wishes to Eddie Howe, who is in hospital. What the statement makes out potentially could be something, I don't know anything more than what I just read out there, potentially could be something pretty serious. So hopefully thoughts and prayers are with him as well as always. And as I say, with Newcastle on the horizon, it is important to mention that. And also, Scott, please give us a shout on Scott VB, either for the love of Paul McGrath gmail.com, or else hit me up on Twitter or wherever, and we'll get you sorted out with that as well. So I think we're going to leave it at that, Paddy. We'll be back on probably tomorrow night, I'd say, with a preview for PSG, and then we'll do Sheet Tantrum post-match podcast for PSG, and then probably Thursday with a preview for Newcastle, and then we won't have anything that I can think of. I probably won't get a chance to do Team Sheet Tantrum or post-match podcast on Saturday for Newcastle game.
So you'll have other things in your mind.
Never know. I'm cheeky enough to try it, so don't rule it out. But I
won't be letting you. I'll take over the Team Sheet Tantrum if we can get away, if the timing permits.
We'll see. Right. Anyway, thanks very much, everybody. Aston Villa march on. We're in 5th place pending other results, and long may that continue. But until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.